A-ba-dee, that's all, folks. You have to go to settings and unlock this screen.
Oh, well, I learned as a child there's two ways to see the world is and the way it could be. Now some people say that's just not my problem. Some people do what must be done. Now they see the hole in the fabric that must be sewn. They see the wave like Canaan and the roll back the snow. They see the day beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done. Yes, some people do what must be done. They do what must be done. They see the day beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done. Now I've seen the toll taken, the tears that were shed, that pushing the journey started, and ripples spread, that's just not my problem. Some people do what must be done. Now they see the hole in the fabric that must be sewn. They see the way blockaded and they roll back the stone. They see the day beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done. Yes, we do what must be done. Well, they do what must be done. They see the day beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done. Help us now. Some people do what must be done. But they do what must be done. They see the day beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done. Oh, they see the day beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done. Oh, they see the day beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done.
We are starting with a song today. I believe the words are going to be up here on the screen. I invite you to sing in your loudest, most joyful noise voice. Is that right? I'm a you. I reach up high. I dig down deep where all the meaning lies. I'm a you. I stretch out wide and embrace the whole wide world. Again. I'm you. I reach up high. I dig down deep where all the meaning lies. I'm a you. I stretch out wide and embrace the whole wide world. Thank you. Let you move in a little bit. Good morning. I just did something without asking. I'm sorry about that. Let me wait till it's proper. Because we still insist people keep masks on in the building, I like to ask permission of everyone here. If you are uncomfortable with me taking my mask off in the pulpit, please let me know. Does anyone rather me keep my mask on? Okay, thank you. Well, again, good morning. Nice to see you. Nice to be here. This is All Souls. You made your way here, and maybe you have made your way here, and we're awfully glad that you've decided to spend this time together. I think it's meaningful. I think it's important, and I am very grateful to every one of you for being invested in the efforts we put forth together. We're united in covenant, not creed. We don't have to think alike to love alike. That means we don't all believe the same thing. There are views in the congregation that have more support, like more people that believe that way than others. And so sometimes it can be tough to be a different race, but you are still welcome here. And you are welcome to express that view. I think we grow by learning to communicate about the things we don't agree about, and being here is a commitment to do that. So whoever you are, whatever your age, race, origin, orientation, background, status, ability, identity, if you care to be here with us, you are welcome. We endeavor to treat respectfully people with differing paths and opinions. Sometimes we're still growing and learning to do that. But this is our school, and this is our collective effort. We front load the service with a little bit of announcements, and I want to invite one of our board members, Deborah Warren, up to share those with you this morning.
I'll ask the same question. Do you mind if I take off the mask?
So
Thank
can we
you.
clear everyone who will be on the dais today? Okay, thank you.
I only have a few announcements. With COVID in our area being on the rise again, we are keeping the indoor mask requirement in place. We encourage anyone who's eligible for a vaccination to please seriously consider it. We wish that if you do attend in person, you do so safely. If any of you have COVID symptoms or any other spreadable illnesses, please join us online until you are well enough for your sake and sake of others. Adult religious education via Zoom has resumed this morning. It's held at 9 a.m. Children religious education is held in person during the latter part of the worship service. And next week, the middle and high school youth will start working on the new classroom mural. There are two ways to stay in touch with us and your fellow congregants via Zoom. Every Tuesday at noon, we have the Zoom lunch chat. Feel free to bring your lunch. And every Friday night, we have the Salty Chalice at 10 p.m. for you night owls. And feel free to bring a beverage of your choice. The Zoom links are posted in the online newsletter. The recipient for the July giveaway, the plate, is the Gingerbread House. Their mission is to provide a child advocacy center for our area with comprehensive services for the victims of child abuse, including forensic interviews, multidisciplinary team investigations, family advocacy, and counseling. All of this you can find on our weekly online newsletter, and you can sign up for it on our website. If you have any questions, concerns, or ideas, please share them with one of us, and if the person you ask doesn't know somebody, they will find someone who will know that. And that's it for the announcements.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you. I invite you to relax into your seat. Try to collect your thoughts and have them be present here. Can we bring this up a little, please, sir? Thank you. In addition to the reading that I will be doing by Hope Johnson, I offer this from Chip Rausch. Deeper than DNA, more fundamental than molecules or quarks, at our living core, we are wholeness and transfiguring love. We often forget that power, becoming lonely or resentful, comparing ourselves to others. acting out of fears rather than our living our glory. Occasionally, we rouse from our trance to remember our wholeness. For a time, we embody unsentimental love. We make efforts to wake others and to remain fully present ourselves. Our lives and our time here together are made sacred by our striving. For this next 45 minutes or hour, for the rest of our lives, may we be more aware of the spirit of life evolving through and among us. We are one. I'm now going to Hope Johnson. We are one, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits, here not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. We are active and proactive. We care deeply. We live our love as best we can. We are one. Working, eating, laughing, playing, singing, storytelling, sharing, and rejoicing, getting to know each other, taking risks, opening up, questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, struggling, making mistakes, paying attention, asking questions, listening, living our answers, learning to love our neighbors, learning to love ourselves, apologizing and forgiving with humility, and being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community together. We are one. Miss Susan, are you leading our children's portion of the chalice lighting?
We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism.
This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Together,
with mind, hands, and heart, we care for the earth and for each other.
Thank you. Like this flame, we are one. The church is a body. We've been talking a lot about those here lately. May this body together breathe in the spirit of hope and together be in the spirit of hope. May it feel held by comfort. The church is a body. It's as strong as all the people who gather here and who have ever gathered within its walls, even its virtual constructs. It's the power of all we dream, of all they dreamed, and all that they have done. The church is a body. It is as vulnerable as the most newborn and untried of its members. It's ancient and it's ever new. The church is a story It's the story of lives that are interwoven, brought together in this place and this time for the simple purpose of caring for one another and helping one another along the arduous path from birth to death. The church is a vision. It's a vision of unity and diversity. It is a vision of reverence for all of creation. It is a vision that beckons us beyond the concerns of our own skins. In this hour, may we abide as one body in the spirit of faith, hope, and love that is the story and the vision of this church. Would you join me, please, in our unison affirmation? Rise in body or spirit, and say it with us as you are willing. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other. Our next hymn is Love Will Guide Us. It's, if you care to look in your hymnal, it's number 131. Thank you. Please be seated.
Good morning. I have a story for you this morning about the tiger who didn't know he was free. And the funny thing about this story is I swore that I read it somewhere. I swore that I wrote it down into a document on my computer. I swore that I'd seen a video about a similar story. And none of these things could I find. And my Google skills are really usually much better than that. So I'm going to wing it. But Brittany and I were talking this morning and we said wing it has been kind of the theme. So I'm okay with that. So there was once a tiger, and he had been acquired. He was born in captivity, and he was acquired by not a very kind man. He was had one of those kind of awful little traveling circuses that thankfully we don't see much anymore. But the tiger was in a cage for years that was really too small for him. And when tigers are in those cages that are too small, they start to pace, and they pace back and forth, and it's a sad thing to see. And this woman came along one day and happened upon this little traveling circus and thought, this is horrible. And so she was a woman of some means, of some wealth, and so she offered the man a great amount of money to close down the circus and let her, she said, I own a lot of land. I will build, habitats and enclosures and all kinds of things for these animals. Please let them go. And there were a couple of monkeys but the tiger was really kind of the biggest and wildest that they had. And so the man, he saw a good deal. He figured, okay, I'll find some other way to make a living. So they made the deal. She took the animals. So then she took the tiger, and she had a wonderful, really huge, like acres of land where the tiger could kind of roam and play. And she brought the little cage in to that beautiful space, with green grass and trees and kind of large chunks of meat and things to play with and, all kinds of stuff. And she opened the door to the cage. Well, the tiger stayed in the cage. That was what he knew. And he stayed in the cage. And he paced back and forth, and he paced back and forth. And so she started to kind of move more delicious treats a little closer to the cage. And finally, one day, kind of put a foot outside the door, and he kind of gradually stepped outside, but he would still just pace back and forth in a small little space right there in front of the cage. And it took a long time, and it took her kind of moving attractive things, whether they were large chunks of meat or whatever, a little further away each time, until at long last, and this process took months, the tiger realized how much space he had after all. And he realized that he could move and he could run and he could do all of these things that he hadn't been able to do. But it took so long for him to realize, because he had the cage in his mind. He had not been able to free himself from that cage in order to appreciate this freedom. And the interesting thing, a little side note to this, is that if you're familiar with Mike the Tiger, the LSU mascot, that apparently when Mike first got his big fancy, if you've ever been to Baton Rouge and seen the habitat, it's pretty impressive and it's very big. But when they first moved Mike from, and he had been not in like a tiny cage like that, but, in kind of a more cage-like environment before. And they had a space like that still in the back, like leading into the habitat. And for a long time, he kind of stayed back there. He kind of stayed in that space in the back before he began to venture out. So the same thing, he had the cage in his mind. And I think a lot of us sometimes, we don't realize maybe how free we are, how much freedom we have, or how brave we can be, whether it's in our personal lives, whether it's with, the external forces right now that are acting on us in just some horrendous ways. And it's true that some of us have more freedom than others. Some of us have a lot more at stake, and there's only so much. But we can also just be aware what kind of cages are in our heads. How are we caging ourselves, and where can we let ourselves be free? So I ask you to think about this week, and think about places where you might be able to start to stick your foot outside of the cage of your mind. Thanks. And if there are any children and youth, we'll sing them out. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you
everywhere, everywhere you may go. On my worst days, this is from Jess Reynolds. On my worst days, it's gravity I am most grateful for. The way the earth pulls at me from her core, yearns for me, keeps me pressed tightly against her surface. When my own core is hollowed out, when I have no more mass than a leaf dead on the branch. Still, this is enough for the earth to find me. She reaches for what little I have and says, stay. Every meditation I have ever done begins by asking me to ground myself. This is not so much an action as it is inaction. Surrender. A voluntary abandonment of my own edges and tidy packaging. Sit with me now. Press the soles of your feet back into the ground you sprang from. Feel the weight of your body and know that it is glorious. You were born of soil and sun, and all the heaviness of the earth is a call to you. The earth is reaching for you. Reach back. Reach back. I invite you to walk around in this next reading as it goes by. Try on some of the attitudes and find the ones that might most make you feel alive. Make mental note of them and know you can always choose to become more alive. It's by Matthew Rosen. You matter. Parenthetically, we say this sort of thing around here a lot. But I want you to hear this. I want you to wrap yourself in this idea. You matter. A great deal. There is no one like you. Never will be again. From the birth of the earth to its outermost end, you. A sacred yes that moves your flesh, your bone, your breath. You. She, he, ze, they, you who are whole. You're whole and okay. Your voice and your hands can do more than you know. You, welcome and wanted whatever your skin, wherever the neighborhood you were born in. You, old walls become weak where your love is ignited. You, there is no one like you, never will be again. From the birth of the earth to the outermost end, you matter. from John Corrado. So here we are, children at the big party, having one moment in the sun, one piece of the action, till our bodies give way and we're called away home. We're one big, not always happy family, given life and breath by an eternal parent we dearly long to know, whatever we understand that to be. Now we have our one shot at it, our one time to be a conscious part of this ongoing cavalcade. And we can speculate about reincarnation if you want. This is the only one we know we have, or at least think the most we have the most evidence for that we have. It's not a free and easy trip. We have to live with pain as well as pleasure, temptation as well as promise, loneliness as well as love, fear as well as hope. We have to live inside a coat of skin, wrapped up in drives difficult to control and dreams difficult to achieve. And though we are the guests of honor, we don't get to set the time of the party or its place, nor are we consulted about the guest list. This is our time, and there really is just one question. What are we going to do with it? Breathe. Dream. You matter. The earth is reaching for you. Life is reaching for you. Reach back. We'll be together for a moment of silence.
Changes us is hard, but here we are. We need wider vision, broader reach, deeper hearing, truer speech. Love and justice, hand in hand. Neither one alone will heal this land. Change is seldom easy. Change that changes us is hard. But here we are. We need to learn our weakness, other strength, go the distance, any length, love and justice. Hand in hand, neither one alone will heal this land. Change is seldom easy. Change that changes us is hard. But here we are.
So very much has happened in this world we share since I was here with you last. I really want to thank all of those who have come here and been vulnerable and shared their feelings, and everyone who has done stuff to demonstrate their concerns or to work for somehow beginning to correct things that may do a lot of harm to a lot of people. Bobby Kennedy said, "Moral courage is a rarer commodity than bravery in battle or great intelligence." Yet it is the one essential, vital quality of those who seek to change a world which yields most painfully to change. This week, in a televised ceremony, the Presidential Medals of Freedom were awarded to 17 individuals who made exemplary, this is a quote from a website about that presentation, individuals who made exemplary contributions to the prosperity, values, or security of the United States, world peace, or other significant societal, public, or private endeavors. One of those recipients was Diane Nash. Ms. Nash is a founding member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, who organized some of the most important civil rights campaigns of the 20th century. She worked closely with Martin Luther King, who described her as the driving spirit in the nonviolent assault on segregation at lunch counters. I find it easy to call what she did exemplary. After all, they understood quite clearly what they were putting on the line, for what they believed to the depths of their souls was a cause worth living for and dying for if necessary. Diane Nash, who was also a freedom rider and organizer, shared, not at that event, but at another time, "We all signed our last will and testament before we left. We know someone will be killed, but we cannot let violence overcome nonviolence." They had skin in the game and knew it. It's nice to think we would have that sort of courage if it was needed of us. But how many of us voluntarily will do put ourselves in that place? I know some of you have served in the military and on the police force. Some of you have served as escorts at the women's clinic. Some have donated organs to others. The challenges, threats, and dangers may come suddenly and take you by surprise, but the decision to put oneself in that place was made by conviction and a sense of moral obligation. It's a calculated one. It comes ahead of time, the decision. They have been given honest consideration, unless, of course, those who making some of those actions or putting themselves in some of those career paths acted out of bravado or naivete. Still, to begin to grasp the vastness of the struggles to which we are called requires stepping back sometimes to be able to consider those dangers. Doesn't it? It requires a measure of accountability to something greater than saving our own skins or even our families, our friends. I think to step out with moral courage requires a sense of faith in the value of those actions. Faith in something more than our current human understanding, perhaps. As a species, we have not begun to live sustainably or peaceably. We have not figured out the solutions to make those world conditions. We don't yet know how to resolve once and for all the inclinations humans have toward greed, fear, lust, pride, envy, 7 deadlies, and more. Still, as Reverend Tom Shade has shared in a closing that we do sometimes, there is a force in the universe that I believe can be trusted. Something with which we can participate, that also contains us, contains life, contains nature, contains the web, or that the web is made of, that is the web, something with which we can participate that resonates with us when we try to be aware of it. When we find ways to touch or be touched by that expansive, all-permeating essence that has been life since there has been life. I know y'all get tired of me saying things like that when it doesn't align with your own thoughts, but balance in that can carry us past our egos, past our fears, and empower us to be more effective at all the work we want to get done. Not being too thin or thick-skinned. Now, among the original organizers of these United States, our founding fathers, if you will, and let's face it, for the most part, 250 years ago, the girls and boys played separately, and that's how they expressed, predominantly, as girls and boys. Anyway, so the ones we're talking about are in major portion males. But according to a documentary called The First American, those founding fathers, including Jefferson, Adams, Hamilton, Madison, Franklin, all believed that George Washington was the best of them all. Now, why? Because Franklin was the wisest, Madison the most politically acute, Jefferson was most intellectually sophisticated, Adams was the best read, Hamilton was probably the smartest, but they all said the same thing. Washington is the greatest among us. Now, why was that? Can we imagine any of the others leading armies with a deep knowing that and both the presence and humility to deserve the trust of these people and inspire them to want to make these battles? It was a ragtag army, way outnumbered. But he did it. He was reserved, he had self-control, and was a complex, passionate individual who was comfortable in his own skin. To quote the same program, First American, he was also profoundly convinced of the virtue of religious tolerance, because it's religious tolerance that makes for peace. And peace is what he wanted. It was not just some lofty, abstract idea of fairness, it was reasoning out the ramifications of what happens if we're not religiously tolerant. So we all think we have that sussed, right? Well, I don't know about that. regardless of his own personal religious convictions, he specifically sent a letter to those in another tradition. In this instance, it happened to be a Jewish congregation, and asked them to please stay and know they were welcome in this country, and that they were important. They mattered. And in addition, and again quoting from the program, he promotes tolerance, but yet he also sees that religion has a major role to play in the lives of Americans, because what, after all, holds together a republic? A monarchy is held together by corruption and patronage, but a republic is held together by virtue. Where is virtue? This is still quoting. Where is virtue to come from? He could find virtue arising really only from one source, and that was from religion. Now, something is not virtuous just because we think it is. Is it? I mean, with different circles and cultures, different, sometimes opposing things are understood to be virtuous. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been intermittently swallowed up by the idea that if I do not have sovereignty over what goes on inside my own skin, I have no freedom. There is no such thing. Where else am I supposed to live that out? If somebody else can dictate what happens inside my skin, I am not free. And that holds true for every single marginalized group in the world. My body. It's within my own skin that I have to have freedom, or it doesn't exist. I fear that those who stand across the chasm from me ideologically have mistaken religion for virtue. Virtue is not the constructs, restrictions, and guidance of the religious tenets, but the connection and the wholeness that they are intended to inspire one to develop. The religion is not virtuous, it's what we do with it. And if we let the religion rule, which it seems to be doing a good bit of these days, we have to be very, very cautious. We have to be very, very involved. In the generations prior to my own, the liberties that I have enjoyed since my teens anyway, were not imaginable by my mother, my grandmother. Wouldn't have occurred to them to think about it. Now, I know there were people who were thinking about those kind of things, but not my family. The freedoms that we have come to recognize as only right had not occurred to them. This evolution is still happening. solving the problems of restoring what is being taken from us and ensuring the freedoms that have still never been fully delivered will require inspiration as new and significant as the insights that Einstein had in his day. They don't have to happen all at once. Putting new wine in old wineskins ruins both. We have to come up with new solutions. And in the meantime, we have to keep practicing the old ones. To be the most productive, helpful, impactful people, individuals, organizations, groups that we can, there are practices that we can develop. We experience awareness of connection when we commit to connecting. That power is more than we are. It's inspiring. When we touch it, it inspires us. And when we live it, we inspire other people. Quieting the noise through meditative activity, which can be of all sorts of things. There are a lot of ways to do that, but it won't be an experience of that expansive, penetrating wholeness unless it's done in silence. You can walk in silence, you can work the garden in silence, you can sit. There are all kinds of ways that you can open yourself to that expansiveness and breathe it in and just feel it. But you have to try. You have to be committed to do that. Okay, that's one thing. We can practice remaining engaged. Stay informed as you will or as you must, but don't let your mind and spirit be overridden by external messaging. If we fill our minds with what has already happened or with dread of what might happen, there's no room for vision. That's a scary thought. It's hard not to be kind of flooded by all of the stuff going on, isn't it? Where are we going to develop the vision for real, lasting solutions if we stay in the thick of the mud all the time? These newly forged battlefronts, terrors, problems, threats will require new solutions. Creative thinking. Creative thinking, broader perspective, we become more creative when we're engaged in creative activity. It stimulates the flow in us. The muses like to find us working. Do something creative. Sing, write, dance, plant, paint, dig, make a garden, explore. But if you explore, create something. What are those stacks of stones? The stacks of stones that mark trails and cairns, yes. That's creating. Anyway, seems to me that the solutions have always come from unexpected places and at unexpected times. But Edison was working his head off when he stumbled onto stuff. Found things that were not among the what didn't work. I think Einstein probably was too. But he talks about the necessity of understanding the miracle of everything. None of us are our best in isolation. So we remain engaged. We don't let our lives be flooded with that which will overwhelm us. We do creative things. We commit to being connected to something bigger than us, and we talk to each other in conversations that we can't edit before somebody reads them. Brainstorming in a group can gain exponential momentum. It can really create things if people are open, if people are attentive, if people are engaged. I think where we can, we need to do some of that. We also have to listen with new ears to people who don't process things the way that we do. There's more than one way to, nobody wants to say skin a cat. I knew it would be offensive, but peel a potato. Well, peel a potato's skin. Skin a potato. Actively empower the generations younger than us, whatever that is. No matter how young we are, we will need to find ways to be accessible to them also, informative, engaging, with what bits of wisdom might be invited. If we let it, being pilgrims together on this journey can and will be exciting, meaningful, and life-changing. If we make new practices of personally, actively inviting one another into activities, efforts, discussions, those we may not know as well, those who seem a bit more hesitant, and let's face it, that can be a whole lot of Unitarians. Our power and influence will build step by step. Let's invite people into our vision. Let's invite one another into our visions. If they say no, it's no skin off our nose. If the beauty of our dreams is worthy, it's far more than skin deep. If our love is worthy of living, it too is far more than skin deep. If we don't regain freedom or make sure that others have it, freedom is no more than skin deep. And maybe not even that deep. Our closing hymn are Morning So Fair to See, and I will invite Miss Susan to make her way to the piano for that one. And I want us to do one verse of Never Turning Back after that, okay? Rise in body or spirit. Morning so fair to see, night veiled in mystery, glorious the earth and resplendent skies. Pilgrims we march along, singing our joyous song as through an earthly paradise. Tall are the verdant trees, deep are the flashing seas, glorious each wonder I'm going to go ahead and read our closing and extinguish the chalice. Buddhist activist and teacher Joanna Macy invites us to keep in mind our intimate coexistence. She writes, "You know your lives are as inextricably interwoven as nerve cells in the mind of a great being. Out of that vast net, you cannot fall. No stupidity or failure or cowardice can ever sever you from that living web. For that is what you are. Rest in that knowing. Rest in the great peace. Out of it, we can act, we can dare anything, and let every encounter be a homecoming to our true nature. In doing this practice, we realize that we do not have to be particularly noble or saint-like in order to wake up to the power of our connection with other beings. Wake up to it, feel it, and be revitalized by it. In our time, that simple awakening is the gift the global crisis holds for us. As you leave this sanctuary, may your hearts remain open, may your voices stay strong, and may your hands remain outstretched. May you know to your core, far deeper than your skin, throughout the breath, the spirit that permeates every aspect of your existence, that you matter. There is nothing we are about together that is shallow. Nothing that is only skin deep. We are life calling itself for the sake of us all of us. For the sake of love, let it win. Go in peace. Ashe, amen. Blessed be. So be it. Thanks for coming. Two, three. I will not be afraid, for I know my hope, it is justified. I know revelation still unfolds. I will not be ashamed. I will open my soul to the mystery beyond my control. The love that makes this broken world whole. There is only so far down the road a body can see. I will do what's mine and move on. Speaking truth with love to powers ever greater than me. With compassion, I'll be where I belong. I will not be afraid, for I know my hope, it is justified. I know revelation still unfolds.
I will not be ashamed.